Your growth has been fast, or something's happened that caused you to come up on their radar.
What was the coolest thing you saw that we were doing?
See somebody who's on doing cool things in franchising, I'm like, man, we have to hear their story. We have to.
It's cool to see that you're in the top 20, top 30 of revenue generators across the country in our space, which we've been fortunate to do as a group.
And we're back with another episode of Franchise My Business, the podcast for franchisors, hosted by franchisors. I'm your host, Kevin Oldham, and I've got my first Kevin as a guest. We're going to call this the K2 episode. We got two Kevins on. And if one Kevin wasn't enough, man, this is just gonna be super cool. I've been pestering Kevin, this other Kevin, to be on my show. I think we've emailed him 3 times, and the third time he accepted our invitation, which is, lesson is just be persistent. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Kevin Newton. He is the founder of Honest Abe Roofing out of Terre Haute, Indiana. Welcome to the show, and thanks for accepting our invite.
Yeah, well, the third time was a charm, right?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yes.
Perfect number.
We are very persistent. When we see somebody who's on doing cool things in franchising, I'm like, man, we have to hear their story. We have to.
What was the coolest thing you saw that we were doing?
I just love your logo. I love the fact that you have this fun logo. I like the name. There's a couple things, but also I think one of the things I saw, because the way we find a lot of our guests is Entrepreneur is so kind to put out a list of emerging franchisors. So they basically create our guest list for us. Were you at the top of that list, or near the top of that list last year or this year? I can't remember. But I feel like your growth has been fast, or something's happened that caused you to come up on their radar.
Yeah, in the last few years, we've been on that list. I don't. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I don't pay attention to those things. It's not one of the measurables that we're shooting for daily. Like, hey, let's make sure we're number one on the Entrepreneur fastest emerging brands. Although that's cool to see, and it's always an honor to be in those publications or be mentioned.
Yeah,
and we've had a chance to see different publications across this year and the years prior, and like Remodeler magazines and so on and so forth. It's cool to see that you're in the top 20, top 30 of revenue generators across the country in our space, which we've been fortunate to do as a group.
Yep.
So those are always cool to see, and I think we all have a certain amount of pride, not the bad kind of pride, but the pride of almost like fatherhood, seeing your son or daughter achieve something that you've helped them to be part of, to work on, whether it be golfing or whatever it may be that they exercise or partake in. You had a chance to be part of that process with them. It's fun to see a business grow that you've worked on and developed. You see people that you've worked with to help develop them from maybe entry-level positions up to C-suite positions. And I've had a chance to do that. So I take a lot of pride, if you will, let me use that word, in seeing people grow. And we have a position called a field manager in our group. So as a unit for location, you'd have a field manager. Some people would call that maybe like a superintendent in some contracting realms, or foreman potentially. We call it a field manager. So it's kind of, if you will, a entry level position for our group's location. And I've got field managers who are now running locations and overseeing regions. So it's exciting to see people who come in for positions are paying $50,000 to $60,000 a year, and they're in the mid 6-figure income within 3 or 4 years. So it's cool to see how you get a chance to change people's trajectory and maybe even their family trees, if you will, depending on their background. So it's been cool. And those are always great measurables, and it's fun to hang on the wall and see those comments from magazines, or sometimes they send you a nice little plaque. That's always great, but that really just a testament to the team members that we get a chance to work with daily.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at awards too. It's like, hey, it's like outside validation that you're doing like good work. It's like, hey, your industry or your trades or whoever sees that, and if you're a franchisor and part of what you're doing is helping earn the trust of franchisees who may be interested in joining you, it also helps them realize that you're serious, like you're all in, you're committed. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's a huge topic itself. You could probably do a whole podcast on that yourself on the being in as a franchisor. It's like is it the hair club for men guy, which
Yeah.
we could probably both use.
Yeah.
He's the
I'm the boss.
yeah, right.
It's too late for me, man.
Yeah. That's I think maybe that product's so good it'll come back. But he's the president and the client, right?
Yeah.
I'm the president and a client also, and I believe it's a similar position you may hold.
Mm-hmm.
That although I may be a franchisor, but also still a franchisee operating daily.
Yep.
Know the grind, understand what's like on the minute things that happen daily that could be a big problem for a team member, but for us, it's like, yeah, I wouldn't make a big deal out of that. But we're still in the battle, daily fighting, getting shot at, and shooting back. And as a franchisor, it's easy to lose that if you're not in the trenches daily.
Yep.
But I'm still in the trenches fighting both sides of the battle.
Are you?
So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you got
right now.
4 company-owned locations still, right?
Yeah, I have a chance to operate 4 locations still and we keep doing that, and we keep growing corporately. Targeted growth, maybe not as quick as others would do, especially in today's environment. You see a lot of P&E groups.
Oh
and
gosh,
hedge
roll-ups
funds
just going. Yeah, they're going nuts, right?
Yeah, I don't. That's also a different topic for a different day, maybe.
Yeah,
but the which is an interesting topic. But yeah, for me, I'll get back to the point. So we see our locations as a petri dish to continue to grow and fix if and or improve our test. We do a lot of testing of marketing, obviously advertising, process, procedures, tactics, and of course, a lot of people are good at strategy but terrible at tactics. And some people are really good at tactics but terrible at strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So be able to combine all these things and create a process which people can follow.
Yep.
And just face it, if you get potential franchisees who watch your podcast and they're looking for an opportunity to enter the franchise realm and purchase a franchise system to help themselves get to where they want to go in life, because truly a franchise itself is just a vehicle. It's like going to the car lot looking at different cars.
For sure.
They all do the same thing. They have tires and wheels and steering wheels and different creature comforts for sure, but they're all going to take you to a certain destination. So really, what's your mission as a franchisee? I may be off in the weeds a little bit here, but I'll finish my point, I promise. We're ensuring that our vehicle is a vehicle that is fully refined and operates successfully for anybody who wants to jump into it and drive it somewhere. You don't have to be a Formula One driver to drive our car. Like, you can be an average driver, and it'll get you further than you could go by yourself. Ultimately, I think that's what most franchises are trying to inspire to. And I see a lot of brands, and Kevin, I'm not sure if you've seen them, but have you seen brands that don't have any owned, their own locations?
Yeah.
It works for them. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's bad or right or wrong. It's just, I feel for me to have, you said this a moment ago, so this is what I'm building off of, to have credibility to speak to somebody, like I'm living it. So
your entire catastrophe, right?
Yeah. When you say someone, if you came to me as a franchisee, like, oh, Kevin, you don't understand what it's like over here. I'm like, dude,
I do. I just got kicked.
Where were you?
Yeah, I just got kicked 3 times. Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny.
Anyway,
I'm glad that we talked about that, because I want to wrap on this a little bit, because I think it is an important point. So, our regular listeners know that I and a partner bought a company called the Smoothie Shop and Supplements. It's an asset that was, going through licensing. We converted it to a franchise and whatnot. And through the pandemic, my partner and I, we didn't own any locations. Okay. And through the pandemic, we took custodianship of one of the locations. We've turned it around, remodeled it, made it our prototype, and put a new operator in place and all those things. And I'm so thankful that exercise happened, because we learned so much around like our grease trap and just all the minutia that we needed to have the credibility. And now I can sit down with a franchisee and be like, yeah, it sucks when your opening shift doesn't show up at 6 a.m. because you get the phone call from your angry customers at the gym that their nutritional needs after their workout aren't being met. And what do you do about that?
Yeah.
How do you fix that, right? And I've had to fix that problem now, and you've had to fix.
Yeah, Kevin. What do you do?
You know what you do? You go make the smoothies yourself, you or your partner, and that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
You get out of bed and you're like, all right, let's go. I go take care of my customers. And then you find a new operator for it and find somebody else to go do that. That's what we did. But you've had to deal with Yeah. You get it. Let me ask you more specifically about, first of all, why roofing? 2007, you started this business. Did you have a background in construction before, or did you wake up one day and say, hey, I'm going to be a roofer?
Oh, I have a lot of responses for that, but I will keep it PG.
Yes.
And I'll just give
you
you
can do PG.
I'll give you the transparent point of view. Is that fair enough? That way.
No, I want you to lie to me. I want you to be opaque. I want you to lie.
No. Yeah. Well, I can be ignorant and say, well, Kevin, why wouldn't you do roofing?
Everybody's got one, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I won't.
I know a lot about the roofing industry. Let me throw that out there, but our listeners may not, and it is it's a competitive industry for sure, with varying degrees of professionalism as well.
Yeah, it's all true statements for sure. And I'm not. I would say those statements are true for every industry.
Yeah, fair.
There's probably a few that have limited to big. It's a space that has only a few players, but then the space is probably huge, and the players are probably huge. I think about Samsung,
right?
iPhone,
yeah, tech. I mean, we went to tech as well. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. A car, even cars. I mean, let's say you and I combined our revenue, our liquidity positions, and we want to start a car manufacturer.
Good luck.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's gonna be. All right, let's do this. Let's start a regional bank.
Yeah.
Will they let us? Will they even let us?
No, not going to.
I digress. Back to your question. So all of it's difficult, and each industry has its own difficulties. But that answers your question on the why. Yes, to full transparency again. I was already in the construction field. I left high school in 1996. I guess I graduated. They kind of let me go early. And
see you, buddy.
Yep, that's kind of how it went. But I was in handcuffs. I was in the building trades course, and the last what do you call that? The last half of the day.
Yeah, it's VOTEC. I did the same thing. I did VOTEC. You'd leave at lunch. I did it as a way to not sit in class all day, and I went to landscaping class.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on. I can leave for lunch, and I don't have to come back, and I get to go somewhere else. Awesome. Sold. Did that my junior and senior year. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So very similar. Very similar.
It's a Kevin thing. It's a Kevin thing.
It must be. We're on to something. Look where it's led us.
Yes, sir.
It's interesting, actually. We can get lost in that conversation, but I'll go through it rapidly for you for time's sake. So, it was a building trades course, and we built the school system I was part of here. There's 3 high schools in our area, and they all came to one job site, and they built a home. Cool. And the school system would sell the house every year. So, preferably the house was done before summer. The school's over, and it goes on the market, and hopefully it's sold by the prior school year, and we start another course or another home. The school system owned a little subdivision in the middle of town.
What?
And we put
That's so cool.
A small little house. Yeah, it's pretty. It really truly
program,
is,
man. Is it still going? By the way, is that program still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
That's so cool.
A little different level than it was. Not quite as invasive.
Yeah,
but we did everything. There's 2. I take that back. There's 2 things we didn't do. One of them happens to be the thing I'm doing today.
Roofing. Yeah.
I thought that was curious. But anyway, so I was in the building trades course, left high school, and I've never had a chance to be employed or fill out a job application. I've always owned my own business. So I started a home improvement company right out of high school.
Cool.
And I knew nothing about any of it, of course. So if you could, some of us, yourself probably, and others listening, probably lived and learned that way. And that was my college education, starting a business and just learning how to do it. And I spent 10 years doing that, working really hard on my business. And I realized after 10 years of doing that, I was working really hard on the wrong thing. And I should have been working really hard on myself.
There you go.
I didn't do that. So when I started doing that, then I got really focused on being singular in service. I was the jack of all trades, the typical master of nothing. aiming at everything, hitting absolutely nothing, shooting everywhere, but hitting, nothing's landing. Right? Bam, 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 bam.
Just not getting it done.
But boy, busy. If you met me, you'd be like, that
dude is on fire.
Hard. Yeah. But always broke, always miserable, always behind multiple months. And just the typical human story, it felt like. I see it daily. I talk about it a lot, and I hear it all the time. And the only thing I could say that you can fix that is you have to go work hard on yourself.
Yep.
And when you improve your skill set and become more valuable, then you can start changing your trajectory. But I realized most people weren't going to do that, so I'll get to that point in a second. So long story short, started a construction company in high school, moved for pretty rapidly, about 10 years of doing that myself, being in GC. Then a friend of mine said, hey, dude, you got to stop that madness. This is like during like 06, things are starting to roll back in the residential marketplace.
Yep.
And he's like, you should probably get singular. Like doing what? He actually said roofing. I was like, dude, that's like the roofing's the lowest totem pole in the general construction trade. Those guys are losers, and they were the lowest. That's like it's not something you aspire to be in the construction field. So I can't wait to be a roofer. And anywho, so I actually took some time and thought, well, we roofed every day. We're building homes and barns and whatever in commercial buildings, and there was roofing involved. I had roofers on staff, but I never thought about being a singular in-source or resource or income stream. So I did it. I said, okay. So I developed a plan, but side note there real quick, and I'll give you some more insight. He was also a general contractor with me. He was a subcontractor of mine on the plumbing side. And he went rogue on me one day. I was just couldn't find him. He had supposed to be doing a Godfather's Pizza I was building here locally, and he was supposed to be doing the plumbing. And I'm like, dude, where are you at? He's like, I'm done. I was like, whoa, what do you mean? You're supposed to be doing the rough end. I'm pouring concrete tomorrow, dog. Like, you gotta come do the rough end, homie. I was like 20, so that's how I talk.
Right.
And he didn't. It's like, no, I quit. I bought a franchise. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I bought Benjamin Franklin Plumbing franchise. I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about? I said, man, you gotta stop what you're doing. He hung up on me.
He's like, I just wrote a big check.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I find another plumber, I get my deal done. I see him several months later, and he called me. Actually, he called me, and he said, hey, could you come work, do my billing for me? I was like, wait, let's see, I'll meet you. He bought this old Dairy Queen in town, and he's like, could you remodel it for me? I'm going to turn it into my plumbing office. I'm like, plumbing office? Like, what are you talking about? He told me all this stuff about franchising and this and that. I said, that's crazy. He said, you should look into it. So I did, actually. I said, well, I started looking into, I'm not going to own a franchise. I'm going to start a franchise.
Yeah.
So I started this business. That's a long-winded story.
That's okay, man.
That's a short version. That's a short version. But I try to get you there quick. It's like 15 years of my life, so I try to get there within 15 minutes. So I sat down and I wrote the operations manual.
That looks pretty
big
thick.
book.
That's a thick. I mean, that looks like the Yellow Pages. That's a thick.
It
that's
is
a thick book.
for a town of 120,000 people. That'd be about that size.
Yeah.
I know. Let's see the index here. I don't know how many pages I forget. Yeah, 415 pages.
Wow.
Of how to operate a location.
Wow. That's a lot.
I did
very
that
detailed.
first.
Very detailed.
Yeah. Well, I just went through it. I think it's really important for most of us, and where we all fall short, first of all, in success, is we don't have a target of what success looks like.
Amen.
So how are we going to achieve it?
Knowing what you're going for, right? Like a lot of people have this opaque. You talk about being transparent or opaque. It's like, be transparent with yourself. Like, what does success look like? Sure. Write it down, visualize it, and know when you're there. Otherwise, you'll never arrive.
Yeah, that's huge. And for some reason, they don't teach that in high school.
Nope. They don't teach it anywhere.
It's
weird.
Yeah. So you just said it. So
I know. I mean, that's part of what I try to do is I try to let people know, myself included. The goalposts keep moving, right?
Yeah. Yes. We have two resources. We all have equal share of. That's time and change. Mm-hmm. And until we embrace that, and some people don't understand what that means, but if you think about it, you'll figure it out. But change and time are all two things we have equal share in, and we're not going to be able to change. So we have to be able to maximize them. Anyway, I digress. So I always think it's really important to make sure you finish before you start. So I remember I was a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
I built homes and buildings, and I never started anything until it was done. So we put these fancy 10 by 16-foot signs out front of our real estate developments that were painted and finished. There was cars parked in the painting. There was people walking down the sidewalks, walking to these buildings that weren't there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But we could only visualize and see it before it was ever built. So we finish it, we back up, and then we started. How often do the people listening do that in their lives? Actually, they probably spend more time doing that for vacation than they have their fiscal year for their business or their life and at their employment.
Probably.
Which is confusing as hell. But anyway,
when you say it out loud, it really is kind of mind blowing. Yeah. But you're right.
It's confusing.
It really is.
And then they're the same ones when you go out to dinner with them. They're going to bitch and moan about the government and all those other things that they have no control over. I'm like, dude, you're complaining about the only thing that gives you this opportunity.
Yeah,
the government sucks, but the government is what gives us the chance to do the things that we can do. Like it's like a farmer complaining about the dirt. Like, dude, it's dirt. We all have the same dirt.
We need dirt.
Why are you bitching?
We need it. We may not like the conditions of the dirt, but you
ain't gonna change it.
Yep, it's dirt.
It is.
It's dirt.
It's dirt.
It's dirt.
We all have the same dirt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the goose that lays a golden egg, and like the goose may eat too much, but it lays the golden egg. Don't complain about it.
Let's talk about the golden egg, because my franchise attorney, Kara Martin, shout out to the Franchise and Business Law Group. They're amazing. Is that your attorney too?
No.
You had a laugh. Anyway, she put together a document at one point in time that said something along the lines of, like when you're thinking about franchising, what is your golden goose? What is your unique thing that makes your business replicable and that people would want to buy into your business, right? So my question for you is, what is Honest Abe Roofing's golden goose? What makes you guys like? Why do people join you as a franchisee?
I'll be fully transparent. I believe it's all the wrong reasons. You don't know, so I'll say it. I'm sorry I said because you wouldn't know because I'm saying it. But my transparent answer is it's all the wrong things, and that's what's so disappointing.
People join you because they think it's going to be easy, or what? Like an easier button to get into roofing, or what?
Yeah, we're not.
Or are you guys doing a lot of conversions from people who are already roofing and they're converting to you for?
Oh no, I've never done conversion.
Okay, so it's all new entrepreneur, or not? It's entrepreneurs buying the business. Okay.
Yeah, so I said it earlier. Right? It's a vehicle, and if you and I were speaking, you were a prospect. I'd ask you what are you trying to accomplish in life? Like, tell me how much you earned last year. And they say, well, I earned $100,000. Well, that's a nice number. Were you happy with that? No. Okay. Well, let's look at the average. I'm going to go off track to get back on track, if you don't mind.
Go for
it.
To
answer your question. Look at the average income for an American in our country. It's like $37,000.
Yeah.
That's the average. There's people who earn $1 billion, and there's people who earn less than $37,000.
Yep.
So, who's looking at buying franchises?
Higher income.
Who's looking at starting it?
Yeah. I would think
probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of prospects, and most of them are earning less than $100,000 a year. Now, if you were that prospect, and I told you that you're going to earn $2.6 million next year, would you believe me? Last year you earned $57,000. First of all, you may believe that the chance is viable and realistic, but could you see yourself having the ability and the skill set even to run an operation that could do that? I don't know the answer to that question. I believe for a person who's used to earning $50,000, $60,000 a year, maybe less, and you tell them they're going to operate a business that brings in potentially $10 million a year in revenue, it's going to be overwhelming to them. Mm-hmm. And the person that it's not overwhelming to, I would say then they have commission breath, or that's what we call it in the sales system, is they're in it for the wrong reason. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get rich quick.
Yeah.
To answer your question transparently, is I feel that most people get into it for the wrong reason. Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying that that's our golden egg. I'm telling you that the golden egg is that egg is in the batch.
Right.
Like that egg exists. That's an egg that we have in the container of eggs that this thing throws off so much potential profitability
Right.
when executed correctly, that it'll do the things that you've always dreamed about doing. But here's the true golden egg. It's the franchisee.
Yeah. Yeah. The right one. Right.
There's nothing I can do. That's like saying, hey, I've got this workout program that's going to help you look the way you want to look in the time frame where you want to do it, in a way in which you like to go about doing it. And every time you do it, it works.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But I said the secret.
Can't force you to go do it, though.
Yeah, well, the secret was you've got to do it the way you want to work it.
Yep.
So, and it only works if you work it.
It's what I used to always tell people at our last company. I'd be like, hey, we offer a buffet of services here, and I can't force you to eat that. You've already paid for admission to the buffet. And you can go take stuff off the buffet, and I'll tell you that my top 10% are eating off the buffet religiously, and they're using it all, and they're trying different stuff, and they're committed to it, like coming in every day and eating at the buffet. But it's up to you, Mr. or Mrs. Franchisee, to actually go to the buffet and try stuff out and see it, and then incorporate it into your business. Your buffet is your operations manual there. Got to integrate I bet you if I integrated that playbook from end to end the way that you wrote it, I'm going to be successful. Would you agree with that? Yeah? Follow the playbook?
I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
You're a nice person, follow the playbook, you're going to go. Problem is a lot of people don't follow the playbook.
Why do you think that is?
Human nature. I don't know. I think think about this. And this is a dichotomy I've always wrestled with as a franchisor. We're getting people to believe in our vision, our brand, our mission, our business that we've incubated as the founders, which is super cool. Like, that's like huge honor that other people believe that what we believe. But the downside to that is that not everybody's us, right? Not everybody thinks the way that we do. Not everybody will act the way that we do. Not everybody's going to behave the way that we do. And so therefore, what I find is that you end up getting a lot of people who want to buy a business, we want to get into business ownership. They still want to have some autonomy. They're still wild cards. We're still renegades. People who go and start a business are the minority. We got something going on upstairs that most people don't. I call it inefficient wiring. It makes us unique in certain areas, but also makes us deficient in other areas. Like, we're all crazy. So owning a business is nuts. Let's just say it. It's just insane. And you put that with a set of rules, I think you're going to get people who like to color outside the lines. And they try to do things their own way. They think they got a better way. And
I just had that conversation.
yeah. If you trust that we as the constructors of the franchise system have already inflicted the brain damage on ourselves, and a lot of what you're paying for are the mistakes that we made so you don't have to go make them. Just follow the playbook. You're going to be good. Follow the playbook. It's just hard to keep entrepreneurs on a roadmap. That's what I found throughout my career. It's just hard. I don't know. That would be that's a whole episode right there. It's like, hey,
sure.
the rogue franchisee, right?
Well, I think that's your answer then. Yeah. So what's the golden egg? And I believe it's the same for us and for you and any other franchisor. It is the playbook. It's a roadmap that allow you to color the way you want to color, utilize it how you want to utilize it. There's certain standards and procedures we have in place to allow you to be successful. My question is, how successful would you like to be?
Bingo. And
you can utilize that to be as successful as you wish.
Yeah.
We have locations that do $16 million a year in revenue. We have locations that do $2.3 million. Where would you be happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And why? The thing they have to have first, there's multiple things that have to happen there. First of all, to even buy a franchise or start a business, you have to be angry. If you can't be angry about something going on in your life, you're not going to make a change. Until you're angry, you won't make a change in your life.
I agree.
Care if it's about being overweight.
You got to have an F. You got to have an F this moment. You got to have an F this moment. You got to have something that calls you to action. It's so painful. You're like, you know what? I got to do this.
Our society has not coached that.
No.
We want you to be complacent and happy. Like you can go boating or I can go boating. And we have it. Let's say it's Monday morning. I come in and we're having a water cooler chat. Like, hey, Kev, I'm like, what's up, dog? Like, how was your weekend? I went boating. You're like, so did I. I'm like, where'd you go boating? You like, I went down a local lake. I'm like, that's so cool. Where'd you go boating? You're talking to me now. Well, I got in my jet and I flew to my house in Eleuthera and got in my 42-foot 600 horse boat, center console, and went fishing and caught a bull shark, by the way. And I flew my own jet to my own place, my own boat, but we both went boating.
Right.
And we had the same experience. You caught a giant bass, I caught a bull shark.
Yep.
But is there any difference in that conversation?
Well, you got a jet and I don't.
People ask. Well, true. Maybe. I mean, you can buy. They sell to everybody. You know.
Yep.
I'm not boasting or bragging. I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm saying.
I feel you.
I'm just telling you at what level of life do you want to operate in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only saying is all of us have the ability to live however, at whatever limit you want to live. We are like trees. Trees have no limit of growth.
Yep.
But we choose. The society has pulled our belief system to think that we can only grow to a certain level of revenue generation or size of whatever experience of life. Like you can only have 1.2 acres of land, 2 kids, 2.5 kids, and a dog, and a picket fence, and that's American dream. Like that's nothing. That's somebody else's American dream. That's not my dream. My dream is to own everything.
Yeah.
I want to be able to. If I want to get my plane and be in California and have dinner, I can do that. I'm not being smug or arrogant. I'm telling you, like, why would you not want that control? I know everybody listening, if they're going to listen in the future of this, is they do want that level of control. Because I know they're hardwired to want to have control like that. That's why they want to. We all want to. Every human wants to own a business. Every one of them. There's not one who doesn't. That it's hardwired. We want control. You ask another American, especially I don't care who, American, Russian, doesn't matter. Ask if they want control. The answer is going to be yes.
Yep.
We all want control.
Yep.
So if you want control, then you definitely want to own your own business. The things they don't want to do is take the time to learn all the process, systems, procedures. And guys, like you said earlier, you've already knocked down the trail.
Yep.
Like, dude, I put the breadcrumbs in the book. Just follow the crowds.
Just follow the book. I can't wait for the YouTube version of this to come out. See, this operations manual's been the star of the show. You know what's going to happen? Yeah. You and I have a lot to talk about, and we're coming up. We're actually past 30 minutes, which is for the guest's sake. No, you're good. You don't need to apologize. It just means you're going to have to be a guest again on the show so we can tap into some of these topics deeper, which is cool, man.
Oh,
it's cool.
It's a huge amount. I mean, that's business. That's franchising. That's franchisee, franchisor. I had this conversation yesterday with a franchisee. Like, our whole thing is I want a franchisee to come on board, get successful as possible, as quickly as they can, and sell their operation as quick as they can to have a huge waterfall event. Let's say you open a location. I'm looking at the number right now on a guy. I won't disclose location, but he's at 5 million in sales right now this year in August of 2023, fiscal year August 23, at 5.1 million. His second year in business. Okay, great. That's great. So his second year in business, he'll close out the year at 10 million most likely, based on projections. And he's in this market that's not seasonal. It's like it's always roofing season.
Nice.
Get my drift.
Yep.
Okay, so and forecasting based on his numbers I'm looking at right now, he's like he'll get there. Second year in business, $10 million revenue and an 18 net money based on what he shares with me. I'm like, that's pretty damn strong. So if he sells out his single location, which I already had inquiries for his location, he's had offers right now at 6 times EBITDA. His EBITDA is 28% EBITDA. That's 2 million times 6. The guy can sell his deal for like what?
Let's go, baby. And then what could you do with that, right? Tee it up into something else. Yeah,
and the guy is super sharp. He's one of my. They're all my favorite, but he's a Harvard grad. He's got background in oil and oil fields and gas fields in South America. He's an immigrant to our country, and his story is amazing.
It's beautiful, man. That's so cool.
But yeah, I want to go 3 more years and roll it up and get there. Yeah, it's so awesome because that's such a great testimony to the franchise system.
Yeah, exactly.
Where a lot of franchisors they're like, oh, no, we need to build up our franchise.
Let's renew again. Yeah. Renew. You're like, no, man, if you can make 10, 20 million on my platform, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
I think that's awesome.
I do too.
I think we're all trying. Are we all trying to do that?
Heck yeah.
I was like, yeah.
I'm not afraid to say it.
Think about when you first started your first business, and you're like, where was everybody when you were walking? Like, you're alone. You're by yourself. You're fighting that fight. If someone walked up to you and said, "I'm gonna give you $5 million," you're like, done.
Peace.
That's huge. And even if you took the financial hit and you couldn't roll it into a waterfall event 60 months down the road, you had to take it all right now. I mean, I would take the $2 million on the tax burden. I would pay it. I'm like, yeah.
Be a tough check to write, but let's go. Let's do it.
Done.
Yep.
I'd figure it out, but done. I'd do it right now. Shit. Sign me up.
All right, man. We got to wrap up. So let me ask you something. Right. This has been awesome. So first of all, if people want to learn more, like maybe somebody's interested in getting into the roofing business for the right reasons, right? What's the best place for them to go learn more about you guys?
Yep. Most of us these days love perusing on our telephones, looking at the old Googles or whichever search engine you prefer to use. Honest Abe Roofing Franchise, honestaberoofingfranchise.com. Pretty easy, long-winded to type, but pretty easy. Let's do it one more time. honestaberoofingfranchise.com. Or if you want to talk to somebody like myself, I'm super fun to speak with, no matter about a lot of topics. 844-4-ABE-NOW.
Abe Now.
Yeah, that's 844. Cool. The number 4, so three fours in a row, then spell out Abe Now on the digits, and you'll get to talk to me whenever you wish, 24/7, 365. We're ready to help somebody align their growth expectations for themselves, their families, to find the right model of vehicle to get them to the financial destination. It could be this franchise, it could be your franchise, it could be any franchise, but we just love to have a chance to speak with folks and see if we can align expectations to get people where they want to go. Our vehicle may not be the right vehicle, but it's definitely a vehicle that could get you somewhere. And we just like to have a chance to talk to folks about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. Appreciate you joining. If people got value out of our conversation today with Kevin, I just have 2 asks. Number 1, share the episode with somebody else, and number 2, smash that subscribe button. Until next time, I'm your host, Kevin Oldham, and I hope that you have a phenomenal week and be well.